Hi everybody, Mature Simmer here. So welcome back to Train Simulator 2024. Just continuing to work on things as I have many things that I haven't touched here. It's been a while, but just trying to get back into a few other things, at least take a look at them again. So I'm gonna try to do this scenario in the Alaska track, and you can see you'll be driving a very long freight composed of empty coal hoppers from the port of Seward to Anchorage Yard, over 100 miles from your start. In part 1, you will travel as far north as Crown Point. You will start with 1,000 points and may receive deductions based on your driving skills. So I think, there's 5 of these, so I don't know that it's 20 miles per, but let's take a look and see if we can do okay on this.
Dispatcher calling train 4001 north.
Alright, should be able to get going.
Are you ready to leave yet? You will be passing a southbound at Divide.
Yes, we are ready for authority.
To train 4001 with Engineer Smith, you are authorized to proceed northbound in 4 blocks, Seward through Divide.
Alright. I'm authorized to proceed northbound in 4 blocks. Seward through Divide is what we have.
That is correct. Dispatcher out.
Alright, so we can only go up to 15. So we want to be careful. There's a lot of snow here. 3 locomotives. Really long train. So just want to be careful here. Alright, and the challenge will be moving along, but not speeding, and it's probably going to be a bit until we can get out of this location. I'm thinking block marathon there is maybe the point, but I don't know. As you can see, it's a ways away, and obviously at 15 miles an hour we are not eating up distance very far. So this long of a train, I'm anticipating there's going to be some challenges. So I do want to see what I can do. Alright, so it does look like there's some things that happen there. I can't get this below 0 that I know of. So switch back here, train brake, and the other one is locomotive brake. So I think the locomotive brake is like something to do with the engine. So I'm assuming what I think I'm going to try to do is try to use that a little bit on a downhill if we have that. Getting a little closer. So 0% grade, so that is always good. Guess I can turn my wipers on, that'll help a little bit. And I should turn my lights on. I think 1 is at least giving us some light. I don't know that 2's doing much. Looks like we can go up to 35 at some point, but the challenge is we've got to get the entire train past that before we can do that. So there is that part of what's going on as well. Unfortunately, we can't really go much beyond, you know, you can't lock it in except at 13 like you're seeing, so it's a little bit of a challenge. And obviously at this speed, depending how, well, I mean, we can see in 0.44 miles we cross into something else. Should be about 60 minutes, so I'm hoping I can do okay here, but I just don't know how to operate a train like this on a downgrade. So I'm used to using the regular brake. I've tried this scenario once and really struggled on the downhill, and it basically lost all the points and more, and then just kind of gave up. So that's why my only option is obviously that other brake. Otherwise, you know, I mean, I suppose I could try to put the engine in reverse, but that seems very inappropriate for the engine. I would think that would potentially cause some damage and whatever, so I don't think we want to do that. Alright, we're crossing a river again. Just a lot of crossings here. Because the other problem with the other brakes is they have pressure and they build up, and then like if you turn them off, you can't really turn them back on easily. So the problem I kept running into is I had to keep like applying more and more brake to get any kind of result, and it just wasn't really good. I don't know how else to explain it. So I think I'm gonna play with the train brake when it comes to that, the loco brake, and then you know, see if that helps, because I think in essence that's supposed to take some energy and provide a little bit of kind of reverse movement, but I'm not like running in reverse, if that makes any sense. Alright, so we're finally past the 35 point, but again, the whole train has to get there before we see that. So we've still got some work here to do that. The way it's acting, you'd think we were on a grade of some sort, but we're not. But yeah, I'm trying to get something I can show people out there, and obviously a successful run would be more useful than someone spending time watching me do a miserable job. So let's see. If I go 4, alright, that's just far away. That's up there, that's right, that's the join, that's like way in the, yeah, these are like, alright, so let me go back. We'll go here. So yes, we've got to go there. And yeah. So not a lot of things, that's for sure. So just seven points. Nothing too crazy. Again, get ourselves some speed. See, I don't understand how it just goes right back down there. But it's pretty fast the way it does it. So, we got a crossing here. No cars waiting, but okay, now we're going 0.8. So we are starting to climb. Again, this is not unknown to me, given that I've kind of seen it, so. But I don't want to get any speeding penalties or anything like that, so I'm trying to be careful. But now we're at a 1% grade. So clearly we're gonna slow down shortly. Actually, yeah, we can't seem to pull right now. We're slowing down. Well, now we've sped up. So that's a bit of a confusing point. Not quite sure why the train, like I keep hearing air release and so forth, so let's see. Wow. Yeah, I don't understand, like it suddenly is going very quickly. Obviously that's not what I need. So 13, 14, we've got just a little bit here, and then, okay, there we go. Now we can go 35. I'm gonna raise this speed and get close if I can. So obviously the quicker we can go, the faster we will hopefully get our portion done here. And I know what I need to do, and so we will start climbing a little more sharply in a bit, but right now it's just that 1%. So my acceleration is certainly more capable here, but I think we end up at like 2% or 2.2% at some point before we get all the way near the top. But we've got a mile before we're into the next block, basically. But it's going to be interesting to see. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, so if I go down here, like some of this is momentum, obviously, but let's see, 38, maybe we'll kind of hold it. No, it'll speed up a bit, which is not necessarily what I want. Right, and yeah, with the visibility we've got, there's not a whole lot we're gonna see, but I think again, we don't have, I haven't seen any light up signals here, probably because I think they probably just clear verbally like that, so that engineers can just keep track of things. Alright, so I'm sure we'll slough off some speed just because of the friction from the turn, would be what I would expect. Looks like we're going to flatten out a little bit, if I remember there, so obviously going to keep an eye out on our speed. So there's the next block, and then we've got 3.9 miles to milepost 10, and then we can see we're just going to be slowing down to 25. But now the grade is increasing for a bit, and then once we crest over, obviously, we'll flatten out for a bit, and then we climb a bit before we get to the point that kind of killed me off. So I ended up like hitting the emergency brake at one point, which I know kind of screws everything up. I don't know how to get out of that with certainty. It looks like we're accelerating a bit, so I do want to be careful because as more of the train gets on the level grade, we're going to continue to be able to obviously pull a little faster, so we do have to be careful with what happens there. So if I go, let's see, let's go to 25. See if that changes much. Right now we're accelerating, which is obviously not what I want to be doing. Right, now that starts to slough things off, but we are coming up to a bigger grade, and I think that's where we get to the 2% or whatever, but we obviously need to get there before anything happens, because yeah, right now we're all on level grade, and we know 13% had enough locomotive force to, or motive force, I guess is how it would really be described. Alright, we're starting to climb, so we're already at 1.3, 1.9, 2.0, 2.2, and then I think it's about where we sit, although I said 2.3 for a moment. So we'll go to 25. We're still speeding up, but some of that is, again, because the entire weight of the train is not on the slope. And now we're suddenly slowing down. So we'll go up a bit, add some power, see if we can stabilize some things, although I do need to get down to 25 in less than half a mile, so let's be careful with that, I guess, because I don't want to have to turn the brakes on. Dropping down quite a bit, which is interesting, but that could be, again, because we're finally getting on the hill. I would think at this point I am at the full amount. I think I'm finally climbing. So there's mile marker 8, so we got about 2 miles to go. Put it up to 50, and we'll see if that, again, stabilizes it a bit or not. But there's our 25 change. And we're climbing for a bit. We're not even 20 minutes into the run, so that is where this all gets interesting. So, got some turns as we climb. You know, and I don't know that 2 miles, 2.5 miles an hour matters much. So I'm not going to really worry about that. Obviously, if we keep falling a bit, I might do something, but right now we seem to have stabilized at this speed, so 50% seems to be keeping me moving forward. Yeah, I didn't see when I crossed that 25, because I'm curious, like, how long are we really? We were at like 1.4 when we were kind of close to the middle. Thinking maybe a half-mile long train, I'm not sure. So yeah, if I go down to what, 115, 1.15, that would be a quarter mile. If I get that far before the end passes, and obviously I will. But I don't think I'm a mile long. So yeah, it would be nice to see this in better weather, but obviously that's not the scenario. This seems to have locked in pretty nicely. So at milepost 10, so here we're at 9. But at milepost 10, it looks like we're still climbing. It's just visibility is pretty low, but obviously we've just got one track. So pretty sharp turn. I'm sure that's part of the reason for the speed. Yeah, it seems like something's coming out of the fog the way things work, but obviously that's not what's happening, so. Alright, I'm glad we are stabilized at like 22.4. As soon as I say that, you know something's gonna happen. Still not seeing the end. I think there's a good distance to the next block. I think we get into a segment that's like 6 or 7 miles long shortly. So, yeah, we're gonna go via main line and be alright, but obviously we've got, I think, another train coming at some point too, so. If I look, divide, and then we're into a block. So, yeah, not sure. But yeah, it's nice that it's at least holding the speed. So, last time I was playing with the throttle, but alright, so less than 2 miles, and there we go. So, this is the other train. Well, that got loud, which is good. Right. So, and divide was as far as we were cleared, so I assume they'll call and clear us. That's what happened last time. So, they're calling us now. So, 4001 with Engineer Smith responding. Okay, go ahead. I'm authorized to proceed northbound 3 blocks, Primrose through Crown Point.
That is correct.
Wow, got loud again. Alright, out. So there we go. A little less than a mile, but now we don't have to stop. And so yeah, at this point on the trip I was like, alright, this isn't too bad, I can do this. And then we crest the hill that we're coming up on here, because the divide, as I started to understand, I was like, well, I don't know if the Continental Divide goes up here directly, if that's what we're dealing with, or this is just the divide of this mountain range, but obviously we do stop, we you know, flatten out at the summit and then start heading back down. So, and I don't think the locomotive brake has to replenish, so we will be trying that to start once we obviously get up there and cross. But we gotta pass the other train once we get to Divide, and we're on the main line, so I keep myself moving. But obviously we're still climbing for half a mile, so. Alright, a little bit. Oh, we got, that's right, I forgot there's this little tunnel. It's pretty tight. But I assume that's how they do tunnels, because it's like, yep, we're just sizing it for the train, and that's all that'll ever be on here. We don't need to go bigger than that. But a little over a quarter mile away from the summit. Getting very close to being up there, so we went from 22.4 to 22.6. Still says we're 2.2%. Somehow we accelerated a little bit, but at least it's stabilized. Here's the other train. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was set to kind of do the same kind of super length, but this really is not that long of a siding, so there's no way that we'd be able to pull over and let another train by the way that we're set up. Whoop, 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 whoop. We do not want to speed, and that part of it is, again, we're up here at the level point, and suddenly I was going. So I mean, we are bringing a portion of the train uphill still, so I don't want to slow down too much, but you can see we're very quickly going to then drop down. So yes, now we have our 6 miles, 6.5 miles, so that's a long way, and I did not get that far last time, so. But we obviously need to get the train up the hill and then go from there. So bring it down to 13% on the throttle. And then I think for now we're going to switch to that. And hopefully that'll work. Alright, just about up, and now we're starting to head down. So let's put it at 40. That's not working. Now if I put it at 60, what happens? Okay, what about 80? Alright, now it's slowed down a little bit. My goodness, so does this locomotive brake do anything? If I can Okay, so now I'm gonna apply, and then hopefully this won't slow me down too much, because this was the challenge. Like, then I suddenly was slowing down, and I obviously don't want to do nothing.
Dispatcher calling 4009 south. Train 4009 responding. Train 4009.
Alright, so he's basically telling the other train that they can go.
Proceed southbound. 3 blocks, Woodward to Seward.
So far I'm holding.
With engineer Brown.
Now we're not, and see, this is the problem.
3 blocks, Woodward to Seward. That is correct. Dispatcher out. Train 4009 out.
Okay, so now we're cresting, we're slowing down a bit, which is okay. So now I'm worried I applied too much. Alright, so let me put it at 35. Oh boy, oh boy. See, this is the problem I had. Because now we're slowing down a lot. Now, let's see. What if I back this off a bit? Will that speed me up some? Can I do something with this? I mean, I'm flattening out there, so I guess that's a good thing. But let's see. I don't like it. I mean, yes, I was like applying brakes at like 60% here. Alright, let me go all the way down on the train brake and see, but right now it seems like it's, see, I don't think I can release this at this point, because it seems to then hold it at that level. Is the problem. And then I'm going really, really slow. Alright, so if I do that, see, so if I do that, that's the problem. Now we're gonna release, and then it's gonna start moving. See, and then this is the issue. Like, then it starts going, and gotta be careful. And I'm hoping, you know, maybe with the brake here, so let me put this back up to like 96 like I had, and hopefully that will keep things a bit reasonable. And then I might be able to apply the brake later, but the problem is, like, now I'm going downhill a good position here. See, and now it's like finally doing it, and I don't know. I mean, it appears to be doing a bit here, so maybe I'll be okay. Because, yeah, now it's finally hold lapped. And again, if it starts to slow a bit, that's fine, but, you know, in a bit, I can let it go, but I really need to be on that level, and then we'll be able to go 35. And I'm hoping then at that point, once I get that far, like, I'm in good shape. I definitely didn't get to this bridge or anything. But yeah, I don't want to release this too early. But now again, I'm suddenly like really slowing down. Alright, we're gonna release it again. we are... Yeah, we're speeding up a bit, because obviously we've got the weight of the train behind us moving. So, kind of not a really tall bridge, but, you know, because again, we've got 2/3 of the train behind us still pushing us, but obviously, you know, it should become less and less as we, you know, every little bit we crawl through, because they're, you know, each car is kind of falling down to the level. Although we are still descending. Although, well, unless we're, I can't imagine we're climbing, it's 0.8, but, I mean, at least we're not, like, really accelerating here. I just don't obviously want to start applying power and then have a problem. Because I don't know that time is that big of a concern here. But yes, we got to get all the way past this, and then I can go 35. And I'm assuming since I can go 35 again, that we're kind of past the summit point. So the good news is, at least, you know, and maybe now I can go bring this back down, and that might change things. So we'll see what starts to happen there. Yeah, we're speeding up a bit, but at this point I'm almost on the level ground, but you can see it is still going down a bit. It's 0.3%. So I can probably add a little bit of power, but we're at the 15-mile marker, so maybe I'll get myself to like 20. Right now it's not accelerating much, so that's good. Although now it's making a liar out of me. So we need what? We gotta go to line. So yeah, we've still gotta go via and then stop at a siding. So I'm assuming we're just gonna pull over somewhere. Try a little bit more power, just not go too crazy. Maybe stop around 23. Right now we fell a bit, but then we suddenly seem to speed up. So you see, I don't know if it's like when it bunches up and then the train spreads out, you know, you start pulling and then like the train moves a bit and then is like, okay, so now I want to, alright, so that does appear to do some braking, so that's okay. And again, I'm going to be able to go 35 pretty soon, so we'll get this down there. So now we can go 35, so we'll just go to 25, because we still have 3.4 miles to get to the next block. So we've got a ways to go. We've been about 40 minutes or so, not quite. And it looks like we might climb a bit again, because I think over here it's starting to go up. So that'll maybe slow us down a bit. I don't know, and we'll see if again we need to change speed at some point or not. But yeah. I was like at negative 300 and I had to give up on the thing before, so alright, I'm gonna fully go down to 0, get these RPMs down, so it is slowing down, which is good. I just don't want to I don't want to get penalties. I want to run as nicely as I can. It is a hill, but then it looks like we go down, so it's like up and down a little bit. But that's not, doesn't look like a very steep grade, so we'll see. See what things look like. So yeah, now it's 0.4. I wouldn't be surprised if we got to like 1% again. Yeah, and then coming down at 1%. It shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, so 1.2, 1.3. Wow, 1.5. I really didn't think. Maybe it'll go back up to 2 again. But then we are going back down again, so I'm gonna have to be careful because it's like a crest and then we're back. So maybe 2 miles. So I guess it's not over yet, so I'm gonna have to be careful. I mean, we're slowing down because of the climb, but I don't want to over juice it and then have a problem, because once we crest, because yeah, we're going down 1.1, 0.9, 0.4, 1, and then I assume will be 0 for a bit, and then it will start going down. I guess we're going further down, I think, than we were. It might be an optical illusion. So obviously I need to be careful. But yeah, now it's 0.1, 0.7. I'm assuming that's downhill. And yes, we're speeding up. Now we're at 2. So I'm going to drop this down. Speed up a bit, so I've got 5 or 6 miles up I can go. So as long as we don't start plummeting to the surface here. Yeah, down to less than 1.5 miles. You know, because some of the train's still climbing, so I'm like basically like pulling myself over the crest here, but now it's, you know, we're speeding up, so you can see we're starting to get a little bit, so I'm going to go to 40. That didn't help much. This is the same thing I saw on the other end. 60. Still not much. I want to feel like I'm able to control it is the issue, so. Alright, and it looks like we have a 25 coming up somewhere. Now we're at 0.4. And the question is, again, will it slow down enough? See, now I appear to have maybe be affecting it a bit. I mean, we're still speeding up, but not a lot. So I think I'll be okay, because again, probably a third of the train is now on the level point. Now if I go down, let's say to 60, and then you can hear like it did something, but I don't know. Okay, so another roadway above us. Might be the same roadway that's just like coming back or something. And then the question is, like, once we get to block lawing, like, you know, how far do we really have? Alright, so I'm going to go back to 20 now, because we're basically flat. And that way I really don't need any deceleration, but so far so good. So maybe I figured out using the 2 types of brakes together, kind of how you can manage it. But definitely just using the air brakes, it was not enough. slow down to 25. And that's probably because then we're getting into like a yard or something, but we'll see once we hit at the 0.9 what things are like after that. So I'm just going to keep letting it slow down. And I would think within a mile we're going to be really close, because even if I get just below 26, like that, in theory, is not enough to be speeding. And what I'm trying to see, because it's saying 0.6, I don't know if I'm climbing. Wow, we still got to go 5.5 miles, so. Alright. So, we've still got a little ways. Yeah, so there was a little bit of a climb, but now we're on 0 again. But it looks like all the train behind is struggling a bit. Oh, again, I mean, I want to move, but I don't want to move, if that makes sense. Like it's slowing down, but is it? And now we're back at 0.8. So I think we're climbing a little bit again, but then it looks like we'll be going back down again. So we're slowing down for a bit. So maybe there's some crazy turns or something. There we go. We'll be at 25 with no problem. So 0.2 miles. The roadway. But out here in the Alaska wilderness, it's like, yeah, I don't really need lights or signals, or people can just look for the train, is what they're suggesting. So, we're slowing down at 13, but there we go. Now we're at 25. So yeah, definitely a little bit of a pretty heavy turn, so that makes sense. We're only going half a mile before we switch back, but once again, we've got to pass, and we are going to be going downhill, so we're going to keep an eye on this, because this is where I don't have a lot of room. So 20 miles. So we made it to the 20-mile point. A little nervous adding power to this. I mean, we're not going down a lot, but we will be going down some. I don't, again, want to suddenly have something where I can't easily stop with the brakes that I have. But we are definitely going back down, but the majority of the train is still going up. But we are speeding up a bit. And it does seem like we got to get the locomotive brake to 60 or 80% before anything really happens. I don't know if we have a bit of a cliff here. Oh no, that's just water. Okay. Alright, and I think we're leveling. Oh no, we're still bopping down a bit. Okay, so once we get the whole train past here, then we can speed up again. So, and then maybe, like it's saying the ETA is 15:57. I just don't know that I'm going to make it right when it says. Careful that I don't pull too fast. I don't want to lose it now, that's for sure. But I'd like to get closer. I mean, it's telling me the ETA is 15:57, which I guess would be good. throw some braking on there, so that worked. So at least that responds relatively quickly. Maybe put it at 40 and see if I can just kind of hold it there instead of slowing down. Or, you know, if I'm slowing down, that it's a slower pace. Because shortly I'll be able to move a little quicker. Alright.
To train 4001 north. At Crown Point, you will take the siding and hold at the north junction.
I'm directed to Crown Point siding and will hold at the north junction. Okay.
That is correct. Dispatcher, out.
Out. Alright. So we have our rules. A little over 3 miles to go. Again, now I can go a little quicker, so we'll pull that along. Keep our time down. And then hopefully we won't be slowing down any. But you can see our ETA is falling. And I think as long as we're there by 16:03, we're on time. So I don't know that early is a bad thing. Obviously, I don't want to be early at the expense of, you know, suddenly having gone too quickly. So gotta be careful. We're still accelerating. Let me go there. All right. So now we're very quickly not. Should be okay. I don't think we're going down or up much. You can see there's a little bit of movement, but it's not a ton. I've seen 0.1. I've seen, you know, stuff like that. You can see the back just dropped. So I think we were still coming off the hill a little bit, but see now we're at 0.2 and I think we've gone up a bit. But it's not enough to really need a lot of pulling or that it slows me down. But obviously we're moving along nicely. We're still going along whatever the waterway is here. I don't know how much the water level changes. I assume not substantially, or these tracks would be washed out or underwater. Alright, coming up on 2 miles, and then I'm assuming we don't go much further after that. You know, then it might just be pulling onto the siding, but we may be doing that at 15 again, so I'm going to have to be aware of that, because I probably will need to slow down. But maybe I can do it with the locomotive braking, so we'll see. Speed it up a little bit more, because again, we've got a good ways to go. So yeah, I mean, you could say it's not as challenging or interesting, but it has its own challenges, driving a train. I mean, it's not the same as, hey, it's a truck or a race car or a plane or whatever, but there's still stuff you gotta pay attention to, obviously. Turn, now we've straightened out again. 0.1, again, I think I'm climbing a bit. So it's weird how it like slows down, but then it speeds up. So it seems to take a bit for it to have an impact. Alright, so yes, we do need to be down to 15, so I do want to be careful. I'm imagining I can slow myself with my locomotive brake. So maybe I'll test that at like 0.4 miles. I mean, we're not going that fast, so. And I'm just wondering if that's my stop point, literally, but. Although then I wouldn't really be on a siding though, so I'm not entirely sure that that is accurate. Cars and things are stopped, so we're getting somewhere a little more populated. You know, we've got gates and actual cars waiting. So yes, I do not want to fly into town here. The rate it's slowing, I might not need to do much, but there's the warning that it's going down to, I don't know if it's 25 there, no, I guess not. So it might be 25, but because I'm switching, that's why I need 15. So at this point, I'll probably get myself close to that. It is slowing down pretty nicely, so we've got a ways to go, so I don't want to take too long, but yeah, you can see it starts to fall very quickly at that point. Alright, so maybe at the 0.82 miles? I don't know. We'll see. Although that does say, well, no, that could be siding north, and then that's where we were supposed to stop. So, all right. So now we're within tolerance. It would let us go to 16, but all right. So I'm not gonna push it, and then I guess, yeah, we'll head over, and then it will take us over to the siding. So there we go. So now I can speed it up a bit, but I have to be careful, because it can then suddenly, although we are climbing, it looks like 0.9, a little crazy. Alright, so 0.61 miles, and yes, I'm sure I need to stop the locomotive in that space. So it's climbing a bit, but so it's speeding up, but sometimes not. So it's a little tricky. So you see it like very quickly speeds up, but then seems to slow down, but then starts to speed up again. So overall, it's just a little odd. Maybe it'll hold around 14, that would be nice, or just slowly go up. But yeah, now it's suddenly quickly going up. Strange. I don't understand. Alright, we'll back off. 0.3 miles. Alright, so obviously we're still on the location there. Got some logs, some guys doing some stuff. Alright, 14.3, now we're speeding up again. I don't understand. Alright, not quite there yet, but let's back off. I also don't want to blow by so 0.5. So that should be it. It should stop. Alright, and now it'll run some time there. So we can turn that off. And the question is, because this isn't running down. Alright, first part ends here. Head over to part 2 to continue this run north. Yeah, we're still sitting there. Alright, so we got 1,000. So we did it. I got to 29, so it's good stuff. So we pulled it off. Now the next part looks challenging, so we'll see what it looks like when I get to it next. But happy to have pulled this off, and then we'll worry about the next part next time. As always, if you've enjoyed this, haven't dropped a like, or are not a subscriber, please consider those things. Greatly appreciated for a channel like myself that's working hard to grow and find an audience doing just all kinds of sims. So hopefully you're enjoying it, and I will see you next time.